I was lifting a rice sack out of the deep freeze. I felt a pain in my back, and I wasn't really for sure what was going on, so I laid down. And after a while, the pain started to come into my hip, and it would radiate back and forth. I had never had back pain before, but I ended up, there were some doctors down in, that came over from America, and they were able to do an MRI, and they found out that there was a lesion on my left femur. And the radiologist said we needed to get back to the States in the next 10 days. And so we frantically finished up with the project and turned things over to our student missionaries, and we're out of Cambodia in less than a week's time. Before my diagnosis, we were lacto-ovo vegetarian. So we were eating dairy, cheese, and eggs as part of our vegetarian diet. Life for us was very hectic. Rat race, running the project. We would get to bed late at night, 10, 11 o'clock at night, and up at 6 the next morning. We weren't too extreme with that. We didn't really exercise much. We have 3 kids at home, so that kept us hopping, and then we were running day or night with project-related stuff, just nonstop. And so, with coming back to the United States with this possibility of having cancer, I cut out all dairy. If it was cancer, I didn't want to give it a chance to progress. We got back and I was anointed the first thing, and we ended up going and seeing a specialist, an orthopedic surgeon that deals with cancers. He ordered a bone biopsy for me, and we got the results back, and it was a type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was pretty surreal, pretty challenging for my wife and I, because we didn't know what the future was going to hold. Our lives have been wrapped up in mission service for the past 8 years. The one thing we did know was that we were in God's hands. By choosing to be anointed, we were putting Him first above anything that man had to offer. Tears were shed. It was definitely a challenging thought of going into cancer. We're relatively young, early 30s. It was terrifying. I mean, with having 3 kids, we had anywhere from 3, 7, and 9, and the impact it would have on them, the potential to no longer have them be around. And it was rough thinking of that. The oncologist was saying that we would have like a 70–80% success rate at beating this. And I'd never dealt with cancer before. I had no idea how things worked with this. And I found out from the oncologist that with a blood cancer, it's in my bones. That doesn't have a mass that they can size or a tumor. And so there was no radiation involved with it, but they said that, I found out afterward, they thought it was a very aggressive type of cancer. And it was something that was if they were to stage it, it would have been like stage 4, like it was serious. Very aggressive. I was on crutches, pain meds very heavily, and it was progressively getting worse. I was in for the start of my chemotherapy. When I was not inpatient with chemotherapy, when I wasn't at the doctor's doing follow-up visits, I was up here at Eden Valley doing the fever baths as well as the hyperbaric chamber. And so I was taking every approach possible. I was taking the chemotherapy, I was taking the natural remedies, and we had a support team that went around the world that was sending out prayers for us. The 6 rounds of chemotherapy just kind of brought me a stair-step effect down. And after that, I had a stem cell transplant. They were able to use my own stem cells, and my rate of recovery was significantly increased as a result of using my own stem cells. I've just progressively been gaining strength. I try to do some exercise when I can, when I think of it. And even I'm over 6 months out now. And even this morning I went for a hike up in the mountains with a friend of mine. It was pushing my limits, but I need to do that in order to get my strength back. Before transplant, they did a scan and I was cancer-free. Afterwards, they've done 2 scans as well. And it appears that my body's in remission, the cancer's in remission. I mean, It's been a huge weight lifted off of our shoulders, and I couldn't have done it without the help of God, my prayer support team, the folks at Eden Valley, and the doctors, my oncologist down in Denver. I'll be getting my final scan here in about another 2 months, and if everything looks good with that, then we'll be returning to Cambodia to the mission field shortly after that. And so we're excited. Mentally, we're preparing for it, and it's something that we're really looking forward to getting back to. If someone else that has this same diagnosis, I would turn it over to God, pray about it, and then don't self-diagnose on Google. Figure out what you're going to do, and then do it. If you sit and research, you'll be doing that for months, and you don't have time to wait. A lot of cancers can be fast-acting, and you need to work quickly. Find out what your options are with your oncologist. Find out, look for a place that's similar to Eden Valley, a lifestyle institute, and get in contact with them, see what they have to say. Figure out what you're doing, don't wait, but act quickly.